30s, they promised the Jews that they could emigrate, and then they cut the immigration off again. So Jews were sneaking in. Like, there was a lot of Jews because they had been purchasing land in Israel and in Palestine, and the Turks were letting them buy the land. And then when Britain gained control, they stopped it. So they went against the Balfour Declaration twice. And you see what happened to Britain. Britain was, at the end of World War I, you know, it says the sun never set on the British Empire. World War II was a little bit different. They lost so much. They lost India. They lost a number of other holdings and stuff that they had.
Wow.
So, you know, it goes to the point of, you know, if you bless Israel, you bless. If you curse Israel.
And their Navy also
Right.
stopped being a power.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing, you know. They used to be so powerful.
And there was, you heard of the St. Louis, that ship that left
Yes.
trying to find, and every
The
country,
Ship of Fools, they did a movie
Yeah.
about it.
Oh, I heard of that.
every
Yeah.
country that turned them away had major problems.
Yeah.
Huh, wow.
It was
They had
just
to go
floating
back
at
to
sea.
Germany.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Nobody
You know what?
helped them?
FDR basically prevented them from landing.
Really?
Yeah. He was. There was a lot of anti-Semitism, and the whole thing, because Truman was president, and the Marshall, who started he was a general, who started the Marshall Plan for the rebuilding of Europe, did not want the Jews to emigrate to Israel, and Truman overrode. Truman was a Baptist, and he understood certain things. You know, like they were called drinking Baptists. They liked their whiskey and their bourbon, you know, but they also believed the Bible.
And he worked at a haberdashery,
Yeah,
and he met a lot of Jews and spoke to them,
yeah,
and they said that influenced his decision. Just like Richard Nixon got the call from Golda Meir,
yeah.
and she told Nixon that we're going to use the Samson option, which means we're going to send missiles everywhere.
Yeah.
We're going to go down with our enemies. And Nixon's mother, who was a Quaker, used to read stories to him from the Bible at night.
Yeah.
And she told him, you know, one day you're going to help the Jews. I don't know
Oh my
how, but
goodness.
one day.
Oh, that's true. I remember that, yeah.
And then he remembered that.
Wow.
And he called Henry Kissinger and said, we have to do something. And then Kissinger called Golda Meir and said, please don't preempt. No preemptive strikes. We'll be there in 24 hours. And they did actually send them reinforcements.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Brilliant.
it's interesting how you see throughout the presidential administrations, you see anti-Semitism, and it waxes and wanes.
Yeah.
Because even Richard Nixon at times was frustrated. And Kennedy actually is the first president that wanted to send weapons to Israel.
Yeah. There was an
Wow.
embargo.
There was an embargo, and he said, I'm going to do away with the CIA, I'm going to do away with the Fed, and I'm going to send weapons to Israel. And
Yeah.
that was it. When he said those three things, that was
Yeah.
it.
Right, they took
Or they
him.
kill him, yeah.
They took him out.
Hmm?
Yeah.
La Segunda Guerra Mundial está en la Biblia, pero mucha gente dice
And now
que
they're
ya
calling
no
Trump. What are they calling
Oh,
him?
sí.
They're calling him
Creían
like
que
a
sí,
supporter of
pero
Hitler.
eran
It's like getting really
Yeah.
the insanity of it all.
They're getting insane. The whole
It's like
whole
they're saying
situation.
the
is
opposite of
totally
what everything
bonkers.
is. But when Israel became a nation in '48, the gentleman I used to work for
No estudio.
over a year, his parents were part of the formation of Israel. His name was Harvey Meyerhoff. His father's name was Joseph Meyerhoff, and he was there with a group of people that formed Israel. So anyway, he had a whole little room set up that I was taking care of with all the memorabilia from Israel becoming a nation. No, I didn't.
I met this ministry in the Joseph Meyerhoff
Yeah, that's
Rare
it.
Book Room.
Really?
Yeah,
Meyerhoff
there's-
is German,
That's
it's
a
not
song.
German, it's
It's Jewish.
I didn't know that.
But there's all kinds of, they're into all the artistic
Yes.
stuff, so there's places all
Meyerhoff
over.
downtown.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Somos siete.
you know,
Hmm?
the
Somos siete escuchando.
the s-
Oh,
what is it, the symphony or whatever, they got, you know,
Yeah, so,
pours millions into that, the name is on there.
Así es.
And around Israel, there's places all over the place with his name on it, so,
same with the Weinbergs.
yeah, right. Harvey and Jeanette or whatever.
Harry.
Harry, okay.
I met him in Atlantic City on the boardwalk in front of Trump's Casino.
Yeah.
Because my brother was going to New York,
Yeah.
and as we were going to New York, he started to take a detour towards Atlantic City. And I saw the Twin Towers in the distance,
Wow.
and I said, "Are you going to Atlantic City?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I'm not going to those casinos and gamble." So I had to sit out on the boardwalk drinking a cup of coffee. So I'm sitting on the boardwalk drinking a cup of coffee. This guy comes down, plops down on the bench, starts talking to me.
Oh my gosh.
So I said, "Where are you from?" He said, "I'm from Baltimore." I said, "Wow, I'm from
Baltimore.
And what's your name?" He said, "Harry Weinberg." And I said, "Harry Weinberg?"
Heard of you.
And he said, "Well, our family got started in the kerosene business, knocking door to door selling kerosene."
Wow.
I said, "Yeah, but not anymore, right? You're into real estate." He said, "Yeah, a little bit."
A little bit,
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
And then, what was interesting is I was drinking this styrofoam cup of coffee that cost maybe 89 cents, and he was complaining about the price of the coffee. I remember when it was a nickel.
Yeah.
That's you for
I
you.
remember when it was a nickel. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. And
Yeah, I
then
have relatives
I
like
said,
that.
"Well, I'm sitting out here because I have relatives in there gambling." He said, "Same thing. I got dumb relatives in there. I'm not going in there."
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. You met Harry Weinflesh or
Weinberg.
Berg.
Didn't you also meet, you're telling us you met, Michael Bloomberg?
Michael Bloomberg went to Hopkins.
Okay.
The mayor of New
Yeah.
York?
Oh,
And
Isn't
he
he
just gave
liberal?
Hopkins
Oh,
yes.
about 2 years ago, he gave Hopkins $3 billion.
Yeah.
Now, what's he get in return?
Get
Well,
an appendix out.
I think he got
Bagels.
the say and control in a lot of things,
Oh.
more than you might imagine.
I would imagine it, all right.
But he, there are a lot of good things about Michael Bloomberg.
Really?
I
Like
just
what?
haven't heard any of it.
Please don't kill me tonight.
And I was in a seminar with him actually. He started the Johns Hopkins School of Public Health. It's named after him, Michael Bloomberg. And he also endowed the library with a lot of volumes. But what's interesting is when he was mayor of New York, he saw a lot of patterns and trends that were destroying New York City that he didn't like. And one of them happened to be, as you probably remember, giant sodas,
Yeah.
40-ounce sodas,
Oh, yeah.
60-ounce. The cups were that big.
Yeah, they banned those.
Well, they're
Instant.
bad for your health, but besides that.
So he did away with that?
Yeah, but actually he's done a lot of philanthropic activity. He gives a lot of money to Israel and flies there. When they had the, I think, embargo, no plans were allowed to land in Israel. He took a private jet and just went through to Israel to show that it was
Huh.
okay, safe.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's done a lot of things. But yeah, I met him in a seminar. But that Meyerhoff Rare Book Room is interesting because Hebrew University on Park Heights closed up. Which, by the way, is a very bad sign. The rabbis were out there crying on their knees
Oh, wow.
because when a Hebrew university closes up, it's a sign that society is going in the wrong direction. People aren't studying the Torah. And they had announced that Towson University was going to accept their books and their program. And I was over there doing research, and that's the first contact I had with this ministry. Is some
Oh,
people
wow.
that had just come. I think the college ministry was visiting
Yeah.
different campuses. But that was the first actual contact in the Meyerhoff Rare Book Room. So you worked with him?
I was his assistant for over a year.
Which one, Joseph?
His son.
No,
Son.
Harvey,
Harvey.
Bud.
okay.
Bud.
Mr. Bud.
Yeah. He also, with another guy, did the Holocaust Museum, the one
In DC?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I went there every year.
I would like to go again.
Every year we did a field trip. We taught Facing History and Ourselves, which was about the Holocaust. And every year we would go to the Holocaust, and he was one of the actual guest speakers there. We go to the Dutch exhibit with the shoes and the boats and where they hit them. And then,
Finger in the light.
yeah. Corrie ten Boom,
Mhm.
and the book we actually read that book every year, the one they just did a play about it.
Hiding place?
Oh,
Yeah, that was
that's
awesome.
great.
You
Yeah.
saw it in church?
It was really good.
You saw it at the church?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh,
Oh,
they
it was
they
fabulous.
did a great job.
It was fabulous.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, better than I expected.
Yeah.
But what's also interesting for us locally is, believe it or not, Baltimore has a large Jewish population,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
which means Maryland is tied into this in ways you might not expect.
Is it known how many Jews there are?
Yeah,
worldwide? I mean,
I think it's right after Philadelphia, the number, so I think it may approach like 200,000.
but worldwide, is it known?
Oh, worldwide, how many? Oh, worldwide? Worldwide, I think we're talking in Israel, there's about 8 million plus. In the US, I think the number is about a little less now for the first time, 8 million. And then other countries, I think it approaches about 2 or 3 million, that's it.
Huh.
But what's interesting is Maryland has a rather large population, which means it would be interesting to see how Maryland fits into prophecy.
Yeah.
Into the shaking.
Yeah, because there are places where there's virtually no Jews if you go across the United States. There's some towns there's virtually none. But if you go to the West Coast from Portland all the way down, so there's quite a large Jewish population. They just had a blood moon, I think, 2 days ago for that coast, which is interesting because there are interesting things going on in California.
Yeah.
Do you have an, because there is a large Jewish population like Pikesville, where I work.
Right, right.
Part-time. How do you think that this area will be shaken?
The honest answer is I don't know, but I would imagine the same way, earthquakes,
Oh, no.
tornadoes,
They
hurricanes,
did have one.
even social and civil unrest, which we've already seen,
Yeah.
Okay,
and which we've had here before in the past.
right,
Numerous
Baltimore is a
times.
hotbed of that.
Yeah, and that's interesting.
November 4 is supposed to be the Antifa,
Yeah, right.
starting of
Everywhere.
the new communist revolution.
Oh, my goodness.
Right,
What, in Maryland?
well, everywhere.
over the place.
All
All
over.
over.
I don't
They're-
keep up with
they're
that.
gonna get
No
on
idea.
That
the
is so
street
insane.
and- Yeah,
That is
It's
so
been all over
insane.
Facebook and stuff
I hope,
about
I'm praying
about
against that,
Antifa.
God.
and they're gonna disguise themselves as just regular people.
So they wanna
Get out
go-
there and
What are they actually gonna try to do? I
hurt
mean,
people.
Supposed to protest Trump, basically.
Yeah, but how are they gonna
protest
do that?
Regardless of the.
It depends,
I'll
like,
be
I don't know
done
how
so
many
far.
people are gonna show up, so I
At
don't
rallies.
think the Antifa is that, really that large. But, there is a large number of paid protesters by George
Yeah, of course,
Soros.
absolutely. We gotta really pray when the enemy
Okay,
comes
so-
in like a flood, God
Yeah.
raise the standard. So everybody keep praying against that
Hey,
day.
maybe there'll just be a phone
Yeah, I
booth
think
full of
About
each
the
city.
fourth man,
You know.
Christ being the fourth, thinking about Easter, Christ being the fourth, and
Jews.
he's also the fourth. For the
Little
Hebrew, he
boys,
was the
are you
fourth
finished
man in the
playing yet?
furnace, the fiery furnace.
Yes, yeah, it's all through the scripture. you can
They,
find.
those
We're
chicks
So,
get
speaking
when
anyway.
Christ talks about being in the midst of his candlesticks, it's that?
The fourth.
Yeah, right, cause that's.
Yeah, well,
you know,
these
I
are
never
these are
thought-
branches,
that's
this
the
isn't a
truth.
branch, this is a stem, and it's like